Yeah, I think that's the crux of the issue, talking about mental health at the level of the organization when mental health is an individual phenomenon. And so, yeah, and I mean, and I've been the program manager and the owner of, employee wellness. And it, you have to, that construct forces you to look for the like one size fits all-ish approach, because there's no other way to do it when you're at least working in a company of any type of scale. And so, and I think then what a lot of companies do, it's like, okay, we don't want to have a one size fits all. Okay, well then let's do some individual, Bama, you say like there's the stipend or the individual thing, or then they say, well, let's put it up to the managers. The managers will be responsible for like making sure everybody's okay. Guess what? Yes, they're the most burnt out audience in corporate America, right? That middle manager. So when I think about what do organizations need to do, if you follow any of like the stuff I share on LinkedIn, I am hell-bent on advocating for flexibility and future of work practices, because not only not what works for me is different than what works for each of you, but what worked for me a year ago is different from works for me right now. It's situational, it's evolving, it's ever changing constantly. And so I don't think there is an organizational program, policy, anything that could ever meet my needs. Sometimes I think, am I just one of those people that cannot be satisfied? It's like, so when I think about mental health, when am I at my best? It's when my work feels meaningful. It's when my environment is aligned with my core values. It's when I can show up as myself, whatever that looks like, and I can advocate for myself. There's so many components to that. It might be time off today to go to your daughter's field trip. It might be the flexibility to work till 10 o'clock at night, because that's when I get into my zone. So I think it's just really hard, and it's complex, because that's why I love these conversations, because there's just no answer. If there was an answer, we would all be doing it by now. But I think the main thing that I would center is taking that individual approach, that it has to be up to the individual. And there's two sides to that. There's the organization supporting the individual, and then there's the individual. It is up to us ultimately to show up and advocate and speak up and say what it is that we need as well. And that can feel really scary. But yeah, this organizational, like what do companies need to do? It's like, I don't even know how unless you have a company of one, which I am, and I'm still a disaster figuring it out. So I don't know how you figure out what the solution is for like a company of 1,000 people. It's impossible.